Hello, students. Welcome to EasyElimu Learning Simplified. Call me Mr. Stanley Ombogo. Welcome to another exciting episode of an artist of the floating world analysis. And in this video, we are looking at the final episode. That is the fourth episode. Uh, that is June 1950. Earlier on in the videos that we did, we had an opportunity to look at the first three episodes, that is in different videos. So we started by looking at some of the scenes and striking events that we have in October 1948. Then we moved to the next episode, that was April 1949. So we're also able to look at some of the striking events and the scenes that we have in that episode. Then we proceeded to the third episode, that was November 1949. So we're also able to look at the scenes and the series of events as recorded in November 1949. So dear students, allow me to take you through the fourth episode of An Artist of the Floating World. That is simply by looking at the summary of that episode. We'll later look at other things such as stylistic devices, the character portrayals, and even the thematic constants that we have in this episode. So in the episode, dear students, Ono reflects on a walk he took the previous day over the Bridge of Hesitation. And remember, it was named the Bridge of Hesitation because after a day full of activities, men would stand there, that is thinking about whether to go home to their wives or to go to the pleasure district to have a bottle or two. So Ono reflects on a walk he took the previous day. He has just heard of Masuda's death and thinks that he had meant to visit Masuda more often, but only visited once more since Noriko's marriage talks, that is previously. So on that visit, Miss Suzuki, that is, remember Miss Suzuki is Masuda's nurse and also the house helper. So Miss Suzuki answers the door and tells Ono that Masuda is much stronger than he was 18 months before when he last visited. So Ono thanks Masuda for writing to him during his recent illness. So apparently Ono had also, fallen sick. So Matsuda says that Ono seems to have recovered. Ono says he is fine now, so he just must carry a cane, that is to support himself. So Matsuda asks after Noriko, and Ono tells him that Noriko is pregnant with the first child, and Setsuko is also expecting another child. So Matsuda congratulates Ono. So remember, Ono already has a grandchild, that is Ishiro. So we are also told that shortly after Noriko had been married, she is now expectant, and Setsuko, who is the eldest, is also expecting another child. So Matsuda asks if Ono is painting. Ono says he has started painting flowers in watercolor to pass time. And again, Matsuda says he is glad to hear it and adds that Ono seemed very disillusioned the last time he visited. So Ono says that Masuda's sentiments may be true. Masuda says Ono always wanted to make a grand contribution, and Ono responds by saying that he had been the same way, and they both had great energy and courage. So Masuda recalls how angry his friend used to get when he teased him for his narrow artist perspective. So he says it seems neither of them saw things broadly enough. And he adds that they should not blame themselves. They merely turned out to be ordinary men without any special insight. So Ono looks out at the garden, that is Masuda's garden, then he can smell something burning faintly and tells Masuda that the smell makes him uneasy and reminds him of bombings. So again, that is why we say that the smell of burning in this novel is used symbolically, as it refers to the bombings that happened during the war. So Ono adds that it will be 5 years next month since Michiko's death, that is his wife. And Masuda responds to this by saying that the smoke is likely just from a neighbor clearing his garden. So it's like Ono is still traumatized. So whenever he smells burning, uh, he thinks about the war and the effects of the war. So a clock chimes and Masuda says it is time to go feed the calves in his pond. So the duo go outside and Ono sees a boy of 4 or 5 peering over a fence. So Masuda greets the boy, that is, the name is Bochan, who then dips out of sight. And he says to Ono that the boy comes to watch him every day. So he says he wonders what the boy finds fascinating about an old man feeding fish. Then later on, I remember he says that the boy is surprised on this specific day because now there are two old men who are feeding fish. So Masuda says that people blame the military, politicians, and businessmen for what happened to the country, but people like himself and Ono made only a marginal contribution. So despite what Masuda says, Ono thinks that he is not disillusioned, but realizes how much he has to be proud of. So Ono adds that they took bold steps and followed their convictions, and he is sure Masuda felt satisfied as he looked back on his life. So what happens next, dear students, is that Ono shifts the narrative to recall a proud moment in his life that is about in the year 1938. So he has just finished the new Japan campaign, which is a great success and wins the Shigeta Foundation Award. So during this flashback, he sits in the Mijihidari being toasted by his pupils, but it is not until a few days later that he has a feeling of deep fulfillment and pride. So he takes a train to Akaba intending to visit Morisan, and he is sure that Morisan knows how much better his career turned out than he predicted. That is why Morisan's protege has declined, and he is forced to illustrate popular magazines to make ends meet. So another thing is that Ondo wonders how Morisan will greet him and prepares himself for either a cold or warm reception. That is according to how the two parted ways way back when they had a disagreement after Ono was called a traitor. That is for trying out something new and not doing things in line to Morisan's teachings. So he decides he will not address Morisan as sensei, but when he gets to a place on the mountain looking over the villa, he sits down and eats an orange. So looking out at the villa, he has a feeling of triumph and satisfaction. He does not go further to the villa, but sits in contemplation looking at it. So as this happens, most people, Ono thinks, never feel this kind of contentment. So certainly the tortoise and Shintaro would be incapable of it because they never risk anything to rise above mediocrity. So up to this point, Ono feels that Masuda likely experienced moments of deep pride like he did because he acted on what he believed in. So after hearing of Masuda's death now later, Ono walks across the bridge of hesitation to the area that used to be the pleasure district. So where Miss Kawakama is, that is where Miss Kawakami's stood, is a large office building, and where the Mijihidari once was, there is a front yard in front of another office building. So remember, Mrs. Kawakami had received, a request. There is somebody who wanted to buy the building and, come up with new and modernized buildings. So Miss Kawakami was still not sure whether to, sell the plot or to, have it retained, because it reminded her, sorry, about the past and how he invested all his life and energy uh, in that area. So in that yard also is a bench which Ono thinks is in approximately the same place where his old table in the bar was positioned. So he sometimes sits on this bench as he does in this moment. So he watches several young office workers greet one another and notes their happy, optimistic demeanor. So Ono recognizes the same good-hearted spirit that used to hold sway in the pleasure district among the young office workers. He thinks that despite the nation's mistakes, the new generation is starting afresh, and he wishes them well. So that is the end of the novel, An Artist of the Floating World by Kazuo Ishiguro, and that is the last episode. So please stay tuned for more episodes to come. That is on the analysis of the thematic concerns, language and style, and even characterization. Until next time,